Hi everyone, it's Strive452 back again doing something that we haven't done in quite a while, another Cosplay Podcast. We decided to do another one after the success we had with the first one there, and it's so close to Christmas I wanted a chance to sit down and talk with some amazing cosplayers. Speaking of which, we have 5 really cool cosplayers with me today, and I do believe they'd really love to introduce themselves. So, guys, please do so.
I'm the snarky gay guy. You can find me over at Instagram mostly.
Awesome.
Sorcerer Supreme of Scotland on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
Hi, Taylor.
Taylor.
My name is Tegan Gourlay. I don't really have a cosplay tag as such, but I am nearly always doing cosplays with my boyfriend and pretty much my better half, Blair Flicker.
Awesome. And lastly, we have...
Hi, I am Joe Pride Cosplay. That's what you can find me predominantly on Instagram and Facebook and stuff.
Awesome. So guys, we are here tonight to generally just sit down and have a nice little chat about all the different Comic-Cons and cosplays that we've done throughout the year of 2018. I mean, can you guys believe we're almost at the end of 2018?
Yes.
Scary.
Hey, I'm looking forward to the end of it, man. It's going to be a great new...
Well, I have to admit, I can't wait until New Year because, well, reason to get drunk. But, not that I should be promoting that. But who would like to start us off by talking about an event that they went to this year?
Could I? Just because I might need to dash off really quickly.
Sure, no problem.
So an event I recently, well, I say recently, I haven't been to anything massively recently this year because of my work commitments and my acting career, if I want to call it that. But I actually went to Stirling Comic Con this year.
Awesome.
With it being its first one, and I went with Blair and I went with our best friend Alan. It was just the 3 of us, and we went dressed as childhood toys.
Oh.
It was a joke idea at first, and then we kind of thought, yeah, let's actually do that. Let's actually try that. And so the boys went dressed as Action Man and Dr. X.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went dressed as a Barbie doll just because it was my favourite toy when I was younger, and I didn't exactly have the time to make a full teddy bear suit. So yeah, I just went dressed as a Barbie doll. Nobody really got it, but I wasn't really going for people to get what I was doing. I just really liked being at a brand new con, seeing lots of fresh faces and some familiar faces. And we entered into the cosplay competition, and we actually got 2nd place as a group. So
that's cool.
It was really cool. But what was really funny was we went onto the stage and the boys went, right, we'll do what we've been planning on doing and you just do all the talking. And I'm like, okay, I'm not used to that, but fine. It got me in at the last minute. And it was someone dressed as the evil queen from Snow White, and so immediately I was intimidated because I thought, oh wow, okay, I don't think I should be talking to you. And she was just like, what's this we have here? And I was like, well, and I motioned over to the guys, and they started pretending to fight, but obviously with them being dolls, they had to keep their arms really rigid, and so they were just smacking into one another. And I just thought, oh no, oh dear. And everyone was laughing. There were people taking photographs, and it was just loads and loads of fun. And I cannot wait to go back next year, mainly because I don't have to take time off work.
Do you know the funny thing? I can totally see Lord Blair and the Laughing Man literally with rigid arms trying to smack each other. I can totally picture that in my head.
Absolutely made up on the spot, and it was brilliant.
Awesome.
I'm just imagining it just being like whenever there's a fight scene in Team America World Police.
Yeah, that was the image that we're going for.
So I gotta ask, what was your favourite interaction from that event?
I actually really loved the end of the day when I had this will be my kind of big-headed moment here, when I had a group of really young girls and boys, maybe a bit early high school age, and they were all dressed as different anime characters, and some of them I recognised from animes that I've watched.
Yeah.
And they all came running up to me and they were going, "Oh my god, your idea was absolutely genius. We have to try that now." I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, go for it. It's loads and loads of fun." And they were like, "It's so cool how you came dressed as something that people thought was you were an Austin Powers like girl or something." I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of give that vibe." But then the whole performance of it, and the kids were really interested in the whole performance side of it.
Awesome.
And they were just lovely. I got photographs, I got Instagram details, and we've been chatting back and forth ever since.
Awesome. I was really, really sad because I was actually up in close to what I believe is yours and Blair's neck of the wood for the event that I went to. And I was really, really hoping to see you guys, but due to work...
was that, sorry?
Pardon?
What event was that you were at, sorry?
Comic-Con Scotland in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah, no, neither myself or Blair could have had the time off work from that.
Yeah, I remember you guys saying at the time that you were both working, but coincidentally, and this is something I kind of mentioned yesterday, the first day that I was there, I did my black siren costume.
Oh, it was amazing.
And I literally thought nobody is going to recognise me in this because I don't recognise myself in it. Because, like, I literally didn't know what to do with some of the makeup because she has very, like, Katie Cassidy has very natural beauty to her. So she doesn't wear a lot of makeup in the character, but she does have very specific kind of, like, pieces of makeup done to her.
Yeah.
And we couldn't track down a set of the lipstick, but what we did eventually end up doing was mixing a very, very dark red with black. And it worked. And I have to admit, once I put the entire costume on, I was like, I really don't recognise myself. Really don't. So I'm walking around the con floor, and there's this girl who is doing, I think it's 11 from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
She ran right up to me and she's like, "Oh my god, Jai, it's so great to see you." And I'm like,
"Oh,
who the hell are you?" You know, and she's like, do you remember me? Like, I know you from doing events in Glasgow. You do a gender bent Harley Quinn. And I'm like, so this is tell me who you are. But I sat with her for a while, and after a bit she kind of explained who she was, and I met her husband who was doing like a Mad Max character, but I was like, how the hell did you, like, I kind of was like, how the hell did you recognise who I was when I didn't even recognise myself? Curiouser.
No, it's fab when people recognise you. There's obviously people that still recognise me as Harley, but they're very few and far between now, because strangely enough, Blair and I either get recognised as Jessica and Roger Rabbit, Milo and Kida from Atlantis, The Lost Empire, or Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Oddly enough, the Thomas and Martha Wayne story was brought up last night by B, so tune into that one when it goes up live, guys.
Definitely, that was a brilliant cosplay. That was my idea.
Love that cosplay, and I pray that you guys get the opportunity to do it again at some point.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites you guys have done. It's one of my favorites you guys have done, definitely.
So, another question for Tegan. What other kind of cosplays have you been doing this year, my dear?
Not really very much at all, to be honest. Obviously because of work commitments, unfortunately. I've done one or two themed cosplay shoots, however, with a couple of friends of mine, which you'll hopefully see in the photographs. And they've actually, both of the photographs, strangely enough, are both different versions of Tinkerbell. It's just really popular to shoot. I originally did her for a charity walk in Dunfermline, and the character just stuck, and probably as well because my folks spent a lot of time and money making my wings for me, so I should really make the most of them. So yeah, that's really all I'm doing just now. I am trying to take my cosplay into my teaching, because I teach drama currently just now, and I teach dance across Fife. So trying to get cosplay and kind of teach kids about cosplay and how much fun it can be. It's getting there. It's getting there.
had I known that you teach dance, I would have contacted you a hell of a lot sooner.
I teach dance to primary school kids.
Well, specifically for one particular thing that you can get within like the world of dance, and that's a ballet belt. I needed a ballet belt for my Black Siren.
Yes.
And
Blair has one, I think.
And I couldn't get a hold of one. I actually went to a semi-close dance shop, and they didn't have one, but they did actually give me the name of a supplier that they go to.
Well, that's good.
But unfortunately, it wouldn't have been here in time. Like, I sourced it and was like, yeah, there's no way that it's going to be here before the time of my event.
The cosplay still looked amazing, though.
It did. I actually found something else that kind of worked in place of a ballet belt, but I'm like, I'm going to have to invest in one in the near future.
Okay.
Had I known that you did that, I would have pulled you and said,
Amazon. It's all about Amazon with those.
Quick.
Well, I am dreadfully sorry, but I'm really going to have to run just now because my train is at past. It was really nice being on here. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was really nice kind of hearing from everybody. I'm really sorry I've kind of dominated the conversation.
That's fine, Tegan. Thank you so much for taking the time out and spending
Not
it with
a problem.
us.
I really hope I get to meet all of you guys at a con at some point because you all sound like a riot.
See you later. You take care, hon.
Yeah, have a nice time, guys. Good night.
Bye.
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 Okay, so with that being said, we've kind of sadly lost Tegan, but we're going to move on now. And who would like to go next about some of the events that they've been to this year and some of the cosplays that they've done?
I'll jump in.
Okay, Taylor, you jump in?
This year's pretty much just been fully Valentine's.
Sorry about that, You're a little low.
It's just been fully Velma. Like, every good thing that's happened has been when I'm Velma. I went to... The first con I went this year was Edinburgh Horror Con.
Uh-huh.
Where one of the was Matthew Lillard, who played Shaggy in the live-action movies and currently voices him in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And completely lost my cool. I'm good when it comes to meeting guests. Like, no problem. Full sobbing mess in the queue. Which, of course, many people go photographs of just who is this strange girl crying in the corner. But, yeah, that was real. A good way to start off the year.
So what was some of your favourite interactions that you had at your event, or even just at a photo shoot or charity event that you've done?
Well, that particular event, when I was talking to Matthew Lillard, first of all, he was straight up hugged me because he couldn't stop crying. But about how me and a couple of cosplayers have incorporated to Scotland and how it's charity work, and his face just kind of lit up, and he was just like just in awe of it, and I was like, oh no, he understands. And it was just really sort of moment he appreciated the effort that we put into time, and he was the only guest at the convention who was standing in front of the table. Every guest I saw was sitting down. They weren't really getting up to much to interact, whereas he was full on, no, come up, I will hug you off the photographs. And just felt like a real person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just one of those moments where I'm like, I'm glad I made the effort to go all this way and this person. It wasn't just a hi, selfie, hand of your money, bye.
Sorry, can you repeat that? You can slightly cut out a little bit there.
I was saying that it was just nice to have that sort of very human interaction. It wasn't a case of, hi, nice to know you're a fan, here's a selfie, that's $20. move on, next person. It was a very, like, he took the time to really interact with everybody and treat you, like, with respect, and it was just really sweet.
Well, it's good to hear that, and I'll actually tell you about an interaction that I personally didn't have, but I witnessed. Mm-hmm. And this one's really good, and I mentioned it on the first podcast as well. The one event that I went to this year was themed in the 80s. Now, I know for a start everybody goes, oh, the 80s? That's kind of shite. Well, I'm sorry, but I was born in the 80s, so screw you, person that says that. So we had a lot of 80s stuff there. Like, we had, to list off some of the celebrities, we had Billy from the Gremlins movies. He was there.
Zach Galligan?
Zach Galligan was there. Lou Ferrigno was there. I think Winston from the Ghostbusters. Is it Errol something? I can't remember his name. The Ghostbusters movies that had Rick Moranis and
yeah, he was also on. He was also on Oz as the warden of the prison. So yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Right, he was there, and we had for the wrestling fans out there, Bret the Hitman Hart, and of course the legend of the 80s, David Hasselhoff. So he was the only celebrity that I knew was in the building, but I never actually seen him.
Yeah. I've seen photos and stuff of him doing stuff for like BBC Social and stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's probably going around doing stuff of that. Like he was a busy man during that.
Definitely busy man. But
obviously he was working in the Blair Witch Ghost.
I think the best thing that I've seen was a conversation happening between Lou Ferrigno and Bret the Hitman Hart. Like, they were at their tables doing signings, but I saw like Lou Ferrigno leaning over to Bret and having a conversation. I was like, only at Comic-Con can you see something like that. But in addition to the celebrities, we had all the kind of stuff that you can get your picture taken with. So we had the DeLorean there. We had multiple other things from the Back to the Future franchise, but the one thing that I seen that I loved having there was Johnny Five from the Short Circuit movies. And this was a fully animatronic automated type of robot that was there. And you could get your picture taken with it. It changed its eye colour. And I saw this one kid getting his picture taken with him. And he just thought, right, this thing doesn't move. It's obvious that the guy is just changing the eye colour. That kid was so wrong. It moved its hand up, and the kid just got the biggest fright ever. Like, he didn't start crying or anything. He just, like, if he was a cat, he would have clung to the ceiling kind of thing. But I was like, oh my god, that, like, I was looking at the robot going, oh my god, that's so cool. And then I seen the kid, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad for him. Is he okay? But it was complete afterthought. Like, child safety, not my concern.
Did he also say any of his lines? Because there's certain ones, like
if he did, I didn't hear it happening. I think it was just like a silent version of it.
Yeah. See, like anytime I hear either reassemble or forward, like I either come out with reassemble, Stephanie, or forward, just because like it pops right back in my head.
Input. Need input. No, I didn't hear him doing any of his lines, but that's not to say that he didn't. Right. Or couldn't, you know. But it was cool seeing him there, because again, that was an iconic character from my childhood that I was happy to see in it. I was so peeved that I was actually in Edinburgh, because as soon as I seen it, I was like, I really want to watch that movie again. And I couldn't, because I didn't have anything that I could watch it on with me. I was like, oh, I wish I'd lifted a laptop. Not. So yeah, good to hear that you had a great time with doing Velma and meeting some of the celebrities from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Is there any other cosplays that you've done this year?
I did another. I constructed another cosplay. Most of my cosplays I bought. It's been Primark and Amazon. Like, sponsor me. But I tried to fully construct a cosplay this year, and it was a zombie Dorothy Gale.
Ooh.
Which was so stressful. And then it had issue with the sleeves, because the sleeves were either too tight around the arms, or if I made them loose, they would lift up. The dress would come up a little bit every time I raised my arms, so it's kind of like having wings. Like a bat. And so it was like stressful as anything, but I was so happy with the brain and the heart that I made, because I'd had the idea for years. Way back when I first started going to Comic Con, I just had this idea of a zombie photo, and then just built from there. So I had to cut a hole in the wig and construct it of latex. This brain matter to look like the Scarecrow had taken it.
Oh, that was the one that you did round about Halloween. I remember seeing the picture for it.
Yeah. Trying to experiment with like using hairspray and gloss, trying to add that shiny effect.
Mm-hmm.
Just using nail varnish, and my room was smelling so strong of fumes on a windy day where I couldn't open the window. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be high. And then making the heart out of like cotton ball and latex, like it looked really cool, especially once you add the fake bloods. But even though like I didn't have the ruby slippers because I was going more bookwise where they're silver, people were still kind of getting confused as to what I was. Like there was no people going like, this is Dorothy, but then the zombie, so it's something else. I'm like, it's both.
I would definitely, like, when it comes to stuff like that, it's always hit or miss. Like, there's always really obscure characters that people love doing. And I was really worried, like, when I did the second day at Edinburgh, whether people would even know who I was. Because the first time I did my psychiatrist Harley Quinn event, and I was worried because I was like, I don't think people will understand this character, but the people who were dressed as Harley Quinn knew who I was, so I was like, yeah, that's always a plus.
I think if you find a Harley Quinn cosplayer who doesn't recognise that you're dressed as Harley Quinn and Dr. Quinzel,
yeah,
you need to have the bum in the back alleyway with a baseball bat.
Maybe. But such is the nature of the beast, you know, like that's cosplay in general. Sometimes you'll get noticed for the character you're doing, sometimes you won't, you know, it just depends on the character's popularity, I think.
Well, yeah, but then there's sometimes that you do a completely unpopular character that isn't even liked, and like people flip out because like for AwesomeCon this year, I did Grey Malkin from the X-Men. Is there anyone in this room other than Joe who knows who he is?
Sorry, who knows who what is?
Grey Malkin.
No.
Yeah, he's one of the more esoteric X-Men. But you know, because you know I'm a snarky gay guy. Part of what I really want to do is I want to do all of the gay X-Men characters. Grey Malkin is one of those. He's, you know, in the regular X-Men uniform, but he's gray, has pointy ears, and all white eyes. I was expecting not a single person at this convention to know who I was. And while the masses didn't know who I was, the people who actually recognized me flipped out. It was amazing. Because it was all like, oh my god, you're Grey Malkin! And then, you know, just out of curiosity, I tried Googling other cosplayers who do it, and then so far I haven't seen anybody else do it. So, you know, I think it's like when you do those esoteric characters, yeah, you're right, you don't get or esoteric costumes of characters. You know, like when I do Future Foundation Spider-Man, it's one of the, despite the fact that it should be a better known costume, it's one of the lesser known ones, and I get some weird questions about it, like, are you Silver Deadpool? What? I don't know what you're asking me right now. Like, I don't look like Deadpool whatsoever. But, you know, I'm gracious in the moment. Like, I'm not, you know, awful to people at cons. I'm just very confused. But then the people who are, you know, more familiar with that, just the levels of appreciation among those who appreciate it, I find, are just so much higher than the, oh hey, yeah, you're all new Spider-Man. That's really cool. You know?
Do you know what I love is when you meet people that are really appreciative of your costume, or that know the depths of that kind of fandom. And I know that Snarky's going to get really jealous about this, but when I was doing Black Siren, I actually bumped into a couple that were doing the same kind of like universe, Black Canary and Green Arrow, and they immediately knew who I was, like before I even said one word to them, and we spent a good 10 to 20 minutes talking after that, you know, and we talked in detail about the intricacies of our costumes and what hell it is to wear certain pieces of the costume and at what time of year it's hell and all the rest. And it was just so invigorating, because at that point in the day I was kind of like twiddling my thumbs, kind of wondering, all right, does anybody actually know who I am? kind of thing. But it is great when you get people like that know instantly who you are and that appreciate the kind of hell you go through.
A great feeling.
Yeah.
I'll still forever be salty at the fact that my friend who did a cosplay once 5 years ago as Jack Spicer to this day still gets recognized as, oh, were you that guy at that one con 5 years ago?
That does Jack Skellington, did you say?
No, it was Jack Spicer from Shaolin Showdown.
Ah.
And it was like a really cheap last minute cosplay, but still, pretty much every job he's had, someone has recognized him from 5 years ago, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
I think that is the nature of the cosplay as well. Like, you'll do one particular cosplay that will follow you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still getting recognized as Age of Ultron Quicksilver. Surprisingly enough, after the many variations of Doctor Strange I've done now.
But you see, I've seen your Quicksilver cosplay as well, and like that to me is like almost scarily like the guy that actually plays him.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah. So, but I literally, having seen your Doctor Strange stuff as well, I'm like, yeah, he's more of a Benedict Cumberbatch than Aaron Taylor Johnson to me. Mm. But then I've seen more of your Doctor Strange stuff than your Quicksilver, so that would be why.
I find that relationship ends up being it kind of goes both ways, because you know, for instance, I mean, I'm gonna jump in and put Joe on the spotlight here, because Joe does so many different versions of Kitty Pryde. I annoy him all the time when I'll send him these ridiculous esoteric costumes that were used like in one issue. And I'm like, oh my god, you gotta do this one. And he says, what are you doing? Where are you even getting this? What costume is this? But, like, he's become, like, the definitive Kitty Pryde for me, in that, like, and, you know, luckily, at the beginning of next year, I'm going to be moving much closer to him. I've always wanted to do an Excalibur group. And I would not feel right having any other person play Kitty, you know. It just would be wrong. He's my Kitty Pryde cosplayer.
It's weird, like when you cosplay a character so many times, it's like just kind of expected, but then you still get people who don't know, because I do end up picking more obscure costumes that she's done, or costumes that I found online designed by artists. I've gotten the first time I did her costume, or I made a costume of Kitty Pryde's. It was a design that I had made, but it was very standard, kind of yellow and black with the X-Men symbol. Mm-hmm. And I have a plush of Lockheed the Dragon on my shoulder every time I do it. Somebody, it was at C2E2, I think 2013 or 2014. Some passerby was just commenting on my costume, and he was like, that's a weird gender-bent Daenerys.
Oh, no. No.
Oh my god.
I can relate to that so hard. Man, oh my god.
It was just shocking to me. I mean, I laughed about it, obviously. I didn't, nail into this dude. It was just a passing remark, but it was so funny, and definitely a story I still continue to tell. It was just like, I'm wearing yellow spandex and a clearly, definitive X-Men symbol on my belt, and my dragon is purple. None of these things, which Daenerys, it just couldn't have been further off. I was just so...
The only thing I would make the connection from purple is supposedly the color of Daenerys' eyes. I know she doesn't have them in the TV series as purple, but she is supposed to have purple eyes in the book. And I actually have read the books, so I can say without a shadow of doubt all Targaryens have a shade of purple to their eyes. So that would be the only connection I personally would make. But
yeah.
It's on your dragon, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it was definitely... it was a funny moment. But, I mean, from there, that was the first time I had cosplayed her, and I kind of make it a point at least once every year to make a new costume of hers. Sometimes two, depending on, what my plans are for that year. Mm-hmm. Because I love the character so much.
What events have you been to this year, Joe, that were really stand out for you personally?
In terms of this year, I didn't go to as many conventions as I normally do, just because I moved kind of across the country, so I had to save money where I could.
Everyone's saving money in 2018.
Yeah. So predominantly the convention that I went to, the biggest one was Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. It's like a 5-day event, kind of like the biggest one in the US for cosplay, I would say. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where people bring out their kind of extravagant costumes and really want to wow the people, because that's what the convention's known for. They've had crazy luck with the guests that they get. Some years they had Stan Lee there a bunch of times. James Gunn, George Perez, he usually goes there every year. And it was always a convention that I had seen online that I was just I have to go there. That looks like such a fun time. There are people getting pictures with James Gunn at these big photo shoots with 30 plus people. And I started going in 2015 and I haven't stopped since. So I don't think, no matter where I am in life, that's going to be the convention that I go to regardless, Mm-hmm. And it was all around great time.
Let me ask you this question, and then we'll kind of start going into the other kind of cosplays that we've done this year, because I've got a few things that I want to add on to some of the cosplays that you guys have spoken about. What was your most favourite moment from this past year?
Ooh.
Joe.
At Dragon Con specifically?
Yes.
This
can be in costume or out of costume.
Well, funniest moment, George Perez, the artist behind Wonder Woman, in the 80s. In the 80s, he did Wonder Woman, and he drew and designed a lot of the original Teen Titans looks. Mm-hmm. He goes there every year, and I was at the Wonder Woman photo shoot dressed up as Donna Troy. And
obscure character. Obscure character for the win.
I walked up to him and I asked for a picture because people were just walking up to him and taking pictures. He was like, "Oh yeah, of course." So we took the picture, and then like before I left, he like kissed me on the cheek, and he was like, "I'm an equal opportunist," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess that's what he does." It's very common for him to kiss the people that he takes photos with on the cheek. It was super funny, and like he's just a jolly like older man, and it was cool to be in his presence because he's created and designed some of the coolest characters that I like the most, you know?
Awesome. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Something there?
No, it's fine.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, that was like the funniest moment. I think the funnest time I had there in costume, my friend Amanda and I dressed up as gender-bent Rugrats.
Oh, fell in love?
So she dressed up as Chucky, and I dressed up as Kimmy Finster. It was a fun time. We had like our Reptar backpacks, and I had made a shirt really quick with the logo that Kimmy wears on it, and it was like honestly my favorite night of the convention.
Okay, so we were talking. Well, we just kind of mentioned there about making costumes really, really quickly. So Black Siren wasn't the only costume that I knocked together this year. I also knocked together the psychiatrist Harley Quinn, but there was a third one that I've been working on for a little bit of time. And if you guys do follow me on Instagram, you'll possibly have seen a slight image of this. I have been asked in the past by somebody if I would do a cosplay of Max from Life is Strange, and I've been working really, really hard on that recently, and it's maybe something that I'll only do as a photo shoot, because I know that one of the photographers I met at Edinburgh Comic Con, or Scotland, Comic Con Scotland in Edinburgh, was Little Bo's dad, and I know that the people from the UK will know, hopefully, who Little Bo is. She's an amazing young cosplayer who does centaurs and unicorns cosplays, and guys, they're fantastic. And it scares me that she is so young but does such detailed cosplays, you know. And I think Taylor and the Scottish... Oh, crap. The Scottish Master of Sorcery? No, that's not right. I buggered that up.
Just Craig. It's easier to say, but less syllables.
I know that Taylor and Craig will know her because she's very well known for doing Comic-Con events, and just seeing her in costume is absolutely fantastic. I mean, she definitely puts a lot of work into it. Her mum and dad are also so supportive of her. But she was guesting at the Edinburgh event that I was at, so I was like, "Hi, how are you? And, like, do you remember me?" And she's like, "Sort of." Good. So Max is one that I'm considering doing for a photo shoot specifically with Little Bo's dad and maybe Little Bo herself. So that is definitely one that I've been working really, really hard on. I've got the jeans together. I've got the t-shirt done, which was hand printed by myself, which, guys, if you ever have to hand print anything using fabric paint, just be prepared to scream and swear and scream some more. Fabric paint is not the easiest of things to work with. But there is one or two other costumes that I'm considering for next year. Again, living in the area that we live in, not easy to plan these kind of things. Because there's definitely one that I've got on my bucket list that I want to do, which is a gender-bent Starfire. But, like I say, that needs to be very, very carefully planned out, because Starfire doesn't wear much in the way of clothing.
I have to ask, in the comic book or the DC Titans version?
The probably more leaning towards the comic book version. If I did the Titans version, I would need like reflectable material, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't do reflectable material. I would need to source that. And I'm not wearing a wig that's curly. Like, that's the one thing.
Wise.
Pardon?
I just meant more the outfit one, not the hair.
The hair is something that scares me because I'm just thinking, right, if I was doing Starfire, it would need to be really long hair. And
Yeah.
I would need to consider putting LEDs or something in it. And that scares me all the more. But I have had the opportunity to see some people do Starfire, mostly females, but I think I'd be the first ever male to do a gender-bent Starfire in the UK. Because I haven't seen anyone from the UK do it yet.
There's a few in the US that do it.
Jay does a whole bunch of different ones. That's the one that both Joe and I are friends with, and his are amazing. He's also a wicked friendly dude, so you should reach out to him.
I definitely will. You'll need to give me his information later. So there's definitely Starfire. But another one that I'm looking at doing, and this would be another really obscure character. Not that Starfire is necessarily obscure, but this one is more obscure than she is. Clarion the Witch Boy. Now, I know Jester J has done Clarion multiple times, and I was meant to get some information off of him, which I'm hoping to in the next couple of days, about getting a Tico custom made, because Clarion is always seen with Tico. But I was thinking, instead of going for the traditional Puritan kind of look, I was going to go for his new 52 look, which is kind of like black trousers, white t-shirt with a mystical design on it, mystical designs down my arms, the pointed wig, and then like the baseball shoes. Like, I know the UK people are probably scratching their head going, baseball shoes? They're the kind of trainers with the little white thing at your kind of feet. Because I thought that's a really simplistic cosplay and it'd be really awesome to do. And I've only ever done Clarion once, and it wasn't as a cosplay, it was as a Halloween costume. So I thought it's time to do Clarion again, maybe. So what are some cosplays that you guys have been working on building that maybe haven't made it onto your cosplay circuit just yet, but maybe in 2019 they will?
I guess I could start right now because I only just debuted it last weekend, this past weekend. I did a gender-bent version of Negasonic Teenage Warhead to continue the pattern of gender-bent mutants on this podcast already. No, I just figured it was a perfect fit because I never smile in any pictures. I like flipping people off. And I like the kind of like punk kind of goth like style, and I do like the red and not the red and black, the yellow and black. That's a different X-Men uniform I'm thinking of. The yellow and black kind of X-Men suits, and I was like, I should try and do this at some point. Mm-hmm. And luckily I was able to get some stuff sold. I was able to get it done sooner, and yeah, it turned out pretty well actually. At Birmingham, I had lots of Deadpools coming up to me. I did tons of pictures of me just texting, finishing off my tweets, and there was a surprising amount of Negasonics and even a Juggernaut who got who I was.
Now you see, I've seen the cosplay in question that you're on about, and I literally said to myself, like his Doctor Strange cosplay, this is another one that just fits you as an individual. And I can see you doing like multiple versions or doing that cosplay a little bit more often because it's just so great. And I'm like, please do it more often, just please.
Yeah, I'm just a moody bastard, that's why.
No, not necessarily for that. It's just the costume looks so amazing. I was actually looking at your jacket that you were wearing in one of the images, and I'm like, I want to beat him up and take his jacket because it would be perfect for my Black Siren.
I used to have one like that, but I sold it about a year ago. That was the
Did
same
you?
one that I... No, yeah, because I had it, and I wore it in a production of Oliver Twist when I was at school, and I was like, right, I need to make more way for Doctor Strange stuff, so I had to sell it. And then I ended up buying another one, which was considerably less cheaper, but it was actually a ladies size 12. It wasn't a men's one.
Oh.
And yeah, it still, wasn't like tight or anything around the shoulders. It still fit just fine, and it kind of had like like the buttons and everything on it. It kind of had that kind of punk, kind of goth kind of style. So I was like, yeah, this works. This was, it still surprisingly fits, and yeah, I'm really proud with how it turned out, considering it was the first ever gender bent cosplay I've ever done.
See, gender bents are so much fun to do. And I mentioned about meeting the UK Arrow and his wife or girlfriend. I'm apologising ahead of time because I don't know what the relation is there.
Close relation.
They said to me that they were doing another... they were doing an actual photo shoot meet-up thing for DC characters, or more specifically CW characters. But it was taking place in what I want to say would be Birmingham, because they're from the England area. Unfortunately, I wasn't able. I'm not able to get there. But they were telling me about a girl who does a gender bent Green Arrow, and how much of a great contrast my Black Siren would be to her Green Arrow. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel really bad because I want to go to that now. But, like, I have to work within the restrictions that I have, so it's a shame, but such is life. So, what about the rest of you guys? What other kind of cosplays have you been working on that haven't maybe necessarily made it into the cosplay circuit just yet?
Well, for me, since we moved, I haven't had time to pull out the sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
But the boyfriend and I are definitely, like, we're already ready to start making costumes. So when we move into it, I think the first ones that we're going to work on are Gender Bent Fire and Ice.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I just, I designed them a couple weeks ago. So I just have to, have my sewing machine and have the option to sew, because I have nothing yet. All our stuff's in storage.
Awesome. We'll be sure to be on the lookout for those images when they surface on social media. Taylor, what about yourself? What have you been working on that maybe hasn't made it onto the circuit yet?
Nothing really. I've been working on losing weight, because there's a lot of cosplays that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing current weight level. That's really the closest I've got. I have added to my list of cosplays I want to do. I don't know if any of you have seen the Mean Girls musical or Heather's musical. No?
No.
Movie.
I know the movie Mean Girls.
Yeah, there's the movie Heather's and there's the movie Mean Girls. And in the last 5 years, they've both had musicals adapted of them. And the actress Barrett Wilbert Reed portrayed Veronica Sawyer in Heather's musical. She then played Janice in Mean Girls musical. It's a very modernized version of the show, so like Damien is rocking an Alyssa Edwards shirt. For those of you who don't know, she's a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. So they kind of brought it a bit more to the sort of our generation, what we'll recognise as icons. So this version of Janice got like full denim jacket, denim shorts, lacy tights, loads of different patches. So I'm trying to collect patches as I go to sort of build this together, because from what I can find, patches are kind of cost a bit more than I expected to with.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how many she has is going to take me a while, and because it's something that I'd like to be able to wear that outside of Comic-Con, I'm not going to do a copy of her patches. I'm going to do my own. Problem is I don't know if anyone will really grasp who I'm dressed as, because it looks like an everyday outfit.
Well, that's kind of why that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm relegating the Max Caulfield Life is Strange cosplay to a photo shoot. Because I feel that that's going to have more of an impact as just pictures being done than it would be going to a Comic-Con. Because the one issue...
Wait, no. I'm going to disagree with you. And I'm going to disagree with you because, okay, so to pull Max off, I mean, I'll agree that if you just walked around as Max by yourself, I don't think most people would get it. You're right. But if you put together a gender-bent Life is Strange group, especially if you had a gender-bent Chloe, you would be it would be amazing. And the reason I can tell you this is, one of my favorite things this past year, in December of last year, I had the ultimate honor. I mean, it was so nice. I met Anamia, who was freaking amazing, Tomcat, who I love, and Shut Up Kristen, who, oh my god, I could gush about her all day. Just at this one con, I met these three fairly well-known people, and we just bonded right away. We were all going to Katsucon. None of us figured out what we wanted to do for Sunday, and, I was like, hey, why don't we do a Gender Bent Bob's Burgers group and, really just have fun being dorks. It'll be casual. We won't have to be uncomfortable all day, and it's, so driving home on Sunday is not hard. And people flipped out because the cohesion that happened with the group. So if you took, if you got an entire group, especially if you got the creepy teacher going on, if you got everybody involved and got a group.
I would need to look into that, but because my cosplay for that one is so close to being fully complete, I would prefer it to just be a photo shoot at the moment. And just put it on the back burner, because it is something that one or a couple of people have asked me to do. And I'll admit, I was into Life is Strange when I first played it. Haven't really played Before the Storm. I've seen it played. I've not played the second one, the Life is Strange 2, but I do believe it focuses around different characters, so there's that. But the one thing I'm saying for the Lights of a Con, there was definitely one particular thing that I would need that is very difficult to get a hold of, and that's an instant camera. Again, I know Amazon and yada yada yada, but I've priced them on Amazon and they're really friggin' expensive.
Are those the ones where you take a picture and then it prints itself out?
Yeah, the Polaroids.
Yep. Instant camera. And I know some people have said make one. Again, I literally have oodles of time on my hands. Oh yes, I can just knock up an amazing looking instant camera like that. Oh yes, I'm really talented.
I'm looking on eBay right now. There's some for $15.
Well, it's something that I'm still looking at, kind of thing. I feel as if I had a camera that looked like hers, which I mentioned this, I think, last night as well. Max's camera, while it looks like one that's very easily bought, if you're the type of fan that's very, very, perceptive about these kind of things, you'll have noticed that her make and model is not actually one that exists in reality. It's one that the game developers have done specifically for the game, maybe because they couldn't get the copyright for the actual real life model, or maybe because they just wanted to put their own spin on something. So that's something that I would need to either look into or just say, right, the character is just going to be a photo shoot one, because I think if I had the camera and I was at a con, people would know who I was. But we'll see. I mean, I feel Claren's probably a better shot to do.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but if another cosplayer comes up to you and gives you a hard time because your camera isn't 100% right, no, then I have choice words for them, because they need to calm down. They need to take a Xanax.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I'll tell them.
More myself, kind of thing. I would know the difference, and I know I need to get over myself at that point, but whatever.
Well, I mean, you made the whatchamacallit, your Harley Quinn Jack in the Box. You could do this too. Don't underestimate yourself.
That Jack in the Box drove me crazy, and I'll actually tell all you guys after we're done here what prop I'm actually currently making. That is
First off, Jai, you can't drive someone somewhere they already are.
Yes, this is true.
Second off, when you do that, when you sit in this, you're just talking yourself out of doing what you're completely capable of doing, and I refuse to sit here and let you do that. Like, I refuse. You have talent. You're able to do it.
Shrink alert.
Stop being a butthead.
Anyway, let's
it.
Let's put our shrink on the spot and say, what cosplays have you been working on in 2018 that haven't made it onto the circuit that might do in 2019?
Well, so like Joe, I'm in a major state of transition. I've had some bad changes in this year that have turned into some amazing changes, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And 2019 is going to be an amazing year full of a whole bunch of new changes, including me moving from Connecticut over to Las Vegas, where I'll be able to be around my 6, soon to be 7 nieces and nephews, who I plan to start, appropriating into the cult of cosplay. They will be my props.
Dress them up as dragons, and you can do a gender bent Daenerys.
Honestly, I have no interest in doing Daenerys. If I was going to do anyone from Game of Thrones, I wouldn't even want a gender bend. I would actually want to do the Red Viper. But I would probably do 2 versions, one at the beginning and one at the second half. I'd probably do him before and after he died because I'm tactless. Walking around with a smushed head all day could be kind of funny. Anyway, I'm not doing crazy planning yet. I know that next year I would like to complete my Mega Man. I had worked on it really hard last year, and it just became overwhelming with all of the bad stuff that was happening at the time, and I gave up on it for the time being. I have a couple Spider-Man costumes and a 5th Gwen gender bend in the works. Yeah. I love that. Like, I've become obsessed with both Gwens apparently. But just for funsies, I'm also going to do. I want to start doing more makeups. One of the things that happened this year is, for New York Comic Con, I really wanted to step up my game with my Poison Ivy. I hadn't brought that gender bend out in a long time, so I had switched from using airbrush to using Nayron cake makeup, which made a huge difference. But then, everyone else was taking their sweet time. So I was like, okay, I've watched 2 or 3 videos on highlighting and contour. Let's see what I remember from that. If I look a hot mess, I'll just, wash it off and do my face all over again. Because, again, I'm insane. And when I came out of the bathroom, everyone's like, oh my God, your makeup's on point. So, because I did that, because that came out good, I ordered basically a palette of colors in pink and a palette of colors in blue. And I would like to do an Archangel makeup and a Blink gender bend makeup. Just for the sake of it. If I know that if the Blink comes out, I'm going to be badgering Joe and getting him to sew a gender bent Blink costume that we can design together like we did. That's the other thing. Joe here is actually the person who sewed together my Phoenix gender bend, the regular Phoenix, not the Dark Phoenix. I'll be badgering him since we won't be far from each other at that point either. But I want to do that. I have a couple Spider-Man. I have Mega Man. I also, where I'm going, I have friends that want to get into cosplay, and I'm starting to piece together a Final Fantasy VII group. I have the perfect Barrett, and I have the perfect Vincent. I'll be Cloud because it's all about me.
Interesting factor that you brought up there. I actually started following somebody on Instagram who is known as the Real Red 13 Cosplay.
Oh, that's cool.
Holy crap, like their costume, like even though you would look at it and you would think, oh my god, furry, it is so on point. Like the entire head looks like Red 13 from either Advent Children or the game whenever you get a real good close-up of them. And it makes me tingle when I see it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and I wish I could do something like that. But you really need, like, if they've handmade that, you need a hell of a level of skill to do that.
And I think, too, that's where, as cosplayers, we need to ease up because there's, just because you're wearing a suit that could be mistaken for a furry doesn't mean someone identifies as a furry.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
But I know that like some cosplayers get like really like heated easily, and it's where we're in such a weird place where there's these really great movements that are supposed to be bringing us together, and they should be, but I'm finding that lately the cosplay community's been more divisive this year. So, I mean, it's tough. It's a weird year. Again, I'm hoping 2019 gets better in those regards.
I'm pretty sure it was. Well, I mean, I have got great hopes for 2019, as I hope all of you guys do as well. So with saying that, I think we're going to bring our little podcast to a close, guys, because we've been running for at least an hour. And I'm pretty sure that all of you have other things to do, like myself. So I want to take the time to say, guys, that all of these wonderful cosplayers here with me right now have amazing links and social media feeds that you can follow them on. If you're looking for Tegan's, they will be in the description of this video, as she's not here right now. But the guys who are here can tell us where we can follow them on social media if they so want us to do, which I'm pretty sure they will. And on that particular front, guys, please make sure that you do go follow them and see what kind of cosplays they're making and what they're up to, because they're all amazing people. So, I think we will start with Joe. Joe, where can we follow you on social media if we wish to do so?
Predominantly on Instagram is where I post most of my content, at Joe Pride Art and Cosplay, or the handle itself is Joe Pride Cosplay. But other than that, I do have an Etsy store that is just Joe Pride Art, where I do commissions for artwork. And then I also have a Facebook page, Joe Pride Art and Cosplay as well. And I do have a Twitter. I usually use that more for like politics and film. But you can feel free to follow me there too. It's just Joe Pride Cosplay.
Okie dokie. Craig, where can we follow or find you on social media?
Well, you can find me at Sorcerer Supreme of Scotland on Instagram and Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram just because I'm so used to using it at this point, and to be honest, I kind of forget to update my Facebook page. So you can find me there. I'm more active there than I am on Facebook. Again, at Sorcerer Supreme of Scotland, same username as it is on Facebook.
Awesome. And Snarky, lastly, where can we find you on social media?
The easiest way to find me is over on Instagram. It's the Snarky Gay Guy, all one word. I am on Patreon. It's patreon.com/SHIROIOJI. If you want to help support me and help me pound out cosplays faster, that'd be lovely. And I have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com// again SHIROIOJI. So yeah.
So don't worry if you missed any of those guys, because there will be links to all of these guys' social media feeds in the description below on this video. Also, if you want to see what I'm up to, you can follow me on Instagram at Agumon. Well, sorry, hold on, because I've completely forgotten what my Instagram is. That's terrible. Jai Agumonline on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook at the same name, or you can follow me on Twitter at Jai452 on Twitter. Also, yeah, there is a YouTube channel here. You can go check out the other cosplay podcast that we were doing, the previous one and the one after this, as well as checking out some of the behind the mask videos that I've been doing with a few people that have had the pleasure of working with the amazing Stan Lee. And you can check out my Inside Cosplay series, where you will find most of the people that I'm talking to doing their actual on-screen interviews with me about their lives in cosplay, where we get even further in depth, as well as finding some amazing video game footage that I'm currently doing. Things like, Lego Jurassic World and Lego DC Supervillains. So go and give them a watch and let me know what you think of those guys. But in the meantime, I've been Jai452, Tegan has been Tegan, Snarky has been Snarky, Craig has been Craig, Taylor has been Taylor, and Joe has been Joe, and this has been a Cosplay Podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.